going, everyone? Bo here from BZ Hub, and today I'm going to be teaching you, showing you, whichever one you prefer, how to throw further, how to cast further. I've got 3 different setups here that should answer all your questions. The 2 biggest things when it comes to casting is the weight of what you're throwing and the length of your rod. So I've got examples here. We've got 2 different telescopic float rods, whatever you want to call them. One is the Troy 19'8" super long rod, almost 20 feet, but you'll see on the next one over, we've got a 23-foot purple bat. So we've got 2 different rods here. One is, golly, 3 feet longer than the other one. All right, so let's give this thing a cast out here and see how far we can get it. And I'm going to do my best to get it right at the very tip top, get the best comparison here. But I thought the float rods would do really well because we would be able to see, of course, just got rid of some of that length there, putting it down, but it won't be too much different. Let's see, this rod is 3 feet longer. I'm gonna have to do this again here. So let's see how far we can toss this one. Ooh, an extra 3 feet, or yeah, an extra 3 feet with the rod, and we got it out there just a little bit further. Now that's the same set, bobber, bait, hook, all that sort of stuff, but with the extra 3 feet, we were able to get it out there what looks like almost 3 feet further. Not that that has any correlation. Now, what's interesting is that if we change the weight, let's go ahead and change this, put on a big old pear-shaped bobber here. We should, in theory, now that the bobber is heavier, be able to cast it even further, and we can. See that? So by increasing size of our bobber, it increases the weight that we're throwing, and we can toss it out even further. Now this obviously works the opposite if we put on a lighter bobber, which I'll show you here. If I put on this slim bobber, we're going to be able to throw it even less than before. So you can see we can't even get it even close to that other one now. But sometimes that's what you need to do to get some of those smaller fish, you know? So it's always understand what you're capable of doing. Sometimes, you know, you can't cast it out that far, and it's because you need to use a slim bobber to get a small little minnow or something like that. And that's just the way you need to do. You need to fish closer to the shore in that case. Now, another thing that I know about is that I do believe the X series bobbers can be thrown out further than the regular bobbers. We're gonna test that right now. This is the longer rod, 3 feet longer. We're gonna throw that out there. This is a regular pear shape. We're gonna do this. This is the shorter rod, but it does have the X series bobber on it, and it is pretty darn close. By it being 3 feet longer. Of course, what's gonna change is once we put it in the rod holder. Still pretty close. So even though it was 3 feet shorter on the rod, because it was an X series bobber, we were able to toss it out just as far as the one that was 3 feet longer than ours. So that's pretty interesting. Now, bobbers can be confusing on how much they weigh because they don't really tell you. They just kind of tell you, you know, floating weight X. They don't tell you, you know, weighs 3 ounces or something like that. So sinkers are honestly a lot easier. You can see this is a 1 3/4 ounce sinker, and this one is a 6 ounce sinker. Just tells you right up there in the top left. And what's important for you when you're trying to get the maximum cast for your rod that you're using is to look up at your rod up here, La Cazadora in my case, and it'll tell you literally the casting weight for this is 6 1/3 to 10 1/5 ounces. As long as your casting weight is between those 2 numbers, you are going to get the maximum cast that you can get. You go under that weight, you're not going to be able to throw it as far. You go over that weight, you're not going to be able to throw it as far. So make sure you stay in between those numbers. And to show you what I mean, I've got the 1 ounce on this one, and I've got the 6 ounce on this one. Now, you're thinking maybe 6 ounces, that's not between 6 1/3 ounce. Well, you have to think that the bait also has some weight to it. So despite us not having a 6 1/3 ounce sinker, the bait that we're using does weigh 1/3 of an ounce, so it's actually gonna work out just fine. So let's go ahead, let's compare. This is what we've got, we can cast out. This is 1 ounce sinker, Now if I were to get out this fifth number 5 here, which has the proper casting weight, you can see we can pretty much throw it to the opposite bank here if we wanted to. And that's because we're using the proper weight. Similar thing when you're using a casting or a spinning setup. You know, we have a buzzbait on here. We can cast, just to the, pretty much the same places where we were with the other one. However, this is 6/7 ounce buzzbait, and then we need a 1/2 ounce to 1 ounce and 5/8 lures and all that sort of stuff. So if we were to put on a 2.5 ounce jigging spoon, all of a sudden we're not going to be able to cast as far. We lost about 5 feet. And if I were to throw on one of these super small nano spinners that are 1/5 of an ounce, should be a similar story as we try to cast out, and we can't even cast it more than 5 feet. So that's crazy. So anyway, hopefully that lets you know, if you're not casting as far as you were hoping you could be or something like that, look at the lure weight on your rod. Should be able to tell you what sort of weight you should be throwing, and if you don't know what that is because you have a float rod or something like that, look into your bobber. What size of bobber are you using? Are you using a slim? Are you using a chubby, one of these giant glow bobbers, or one of these super big whatever they are, pear-shaped floats? The bigger the bobber, usually the further you're going to be able to throw it, and obviously bigger your sinker, or basically just matching in your casting weight, is going to give you the best opportunity to throw it out as far as you can with your bottom rods and your casting rods and spinning rods and all that sort of jazz. So I hope that was helpful. I don't know if it was. It was probably just me rambling for a long time, but I think it's good information, and I get asked all the time, how do I cast further? What am I doing wrong? I don't get it. And I hope this video made that mud a little less thick. Hopefully you can just kind of see through the glass now. Anyway, if it was helpful, make sure you comment down below, let me know, like the video as well because it helps me out, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Everyone would love to have you, and if you want to join us at our live streams every Monday, Wednesday, make sure you do that as well, 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. Central Time. Everybody would love to have you. But until the next video, take care, and as always, remember, everyone.
O's BZ Hub Halloween Extravaganza, featuring episodes of spooky games sure to give you a fright, and 7 all-new monster fish missions in Fishing Planet sure to get every ghoul and goblin trembling, all coming this 2022 Halloween season. Be there or be beyond food. We're one planet, one family. Game on.